Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The doorbell's ring jolted me from my focus on the TV. I stood up instinctively, peering through the peephole, feeling my stomach clench at the sight of her standing there. How did she even find me? Part of me wanted to turn away, pretend I hadn't noticed. But I knew she wouldn't leave until she'd said whatever it was she'd come to say. Leaving the security chain in place, I cracked the door open just enough for us to lock eyes. "What are you here for?" I asked. "I need to talk to you." I let out a hollow laugh. Wasn't my disappearing enough of a message that I don't want to see you? That I don't want to talk? She hesitated, as if choosing her words carefully. "You left without any explanation. No note, no reason, just empty spaces where your things used to be." I rolled my eyes. "Are you honestly telling me you don't know why?" She looked down, fidgeting. "I truly don't. If you ever explained, I guess I never understood." Her eyes lifted again, almost pleading. "Can I come in?" Realizing it might be best to get closure, I unlocked the chain and stepped aside. She came in, settling onto the couch and glancing around as if the place were unfamiliar. She asked for a glass of water. As I moved into the kitchen, memories surged back, the night it all unraveled. I'd come home from work to find Rebecca dressed to the nines, as if we had plans. "Are we going somewhere?" I asked, surprised. "No," she replied, brushing her hair back. "I have a date." "A date? With who?" My shock must have been written across my face. "Just a guy from work. You don't know him." "A guy from work?" I pressed, struggling to contain my anger. "Does he even know you're married?" "That doesn't matter. It's nothing serious. I didn't want to go to Scarlett's birthday by myself." The comment cut deep. "So because I won't go, you decided he'd be the next best option?" "You know why I don't want to go," I said, voice steady but tight. "I can't stand Scarlett, and I don't like you hanging around her either." "Get over it, Henry. She's my best friend. She's been there since I was a kid. I'm not about to cut her off just because you don't like her." "It's not about just liking her or not, Rebecca. She's been divorced 4 times, always over cheating. And those parties, they're filled with people high out of their minds. And now, because of her, you're prioritizing this date over us?" She bristled. "Are you saying you don't trust me just because of Scarlett's choices?" "Think about it," I replied, gesturing at her attire. "Look at yourself. You dressed up to impress this friend from work, didn't you?" She shook her head, exasperated. "How could you think that?" "I'm just saying what's obvious. Last time you went to Scarlett's, it was jeans and a sweater. Tonight, you're in a little black dress, like you're trying to be noticed. Scarlett's lifestyle is rubbing off on you and you're starting to give in." "You don't know what you're talking about." "Then prove me wrong," I challenged. "Stay here. Don't go." "I can't. Greg's expecting me." At that, something in me broke. "If you walk out tonight, you're walking away from this marriage." She sighed, exasperated. "This is ridiculous. Going out with a friend won't change anything." "Goodbye, Rebecca," I said, my voice cold and final. For a moment she hesitated, as if second-guessing her decision, but then she turned and left. My gut told me I was right. I knew the kind of scenes that played out at Scarlett's parties, and even if Rebecca hadn't indulged, she'd seen enough to be tempted. Scarlett had been pulling her into that lifestyle for years, murmuring, "Come on, Rebecca, he'll never find out." Rebecca would laugh it off, but her laugh sometimes felt hollow, as if part of her was considering it. I tried to pull her away from Scarlett's influence more times than I could count, but breaking that bond was like trying to snap an unbreakable chain bound to her since childhood. That night, as I lay in bed, my mind raced through conflicting paths, none clear or satisfying. Divorce loomed as one possible escape, but without undeniable proof of betrayal, my thoughts kept circling. Could I learn to accept her coldness? 7 years, mostly good, lay behind us, but always with Scarlett's influence casting a shadow. Maybe you wonder why I hadn't already confronted Rebecca. I needed to know if she'd truly crossed that line. Confronting her outright could push her to be more discreet, leaving me with even less clarity. But if she slipped up at Scarlett's, I had people who would let me know. With no answers, I drifted into restless sleep until the shrill ring of the phone startled me awake. I squinted at the clock. 7 a.m. A knot twisted in my stomach as I reached for the receiver. Hello? Hey, idiot! Did I wake you? Scarlett's voice, sharp as ever, came through the line. What do you want, Scarlett? I muttered. Just thought you'd want a heads up. Your wife's found herself a real man now. What are you saying? I asked, though my stomach had already dropped. Exactly what it sounds like, she sneered. Rebecca's finally with someone who knows what she needs. Here, listen. I froze as muted but unmistakable sounds crackled over the line. Then, clear as day, I heard her voice whisper, Yes, please, harder. I slammed the phone down, but it immediately rang again. Shaken, I let it fall to the floor, unable to bear hearing any more dot. Within an hour, I'd packed essentials, loaded up my truck, and checked into a nearby motel. The straightforwardness of apartment living felt like a blessing. At dawn, I was at the bank as soon as it opened, emptying our joint accounts. Afterward, I went to work, explained the situation to my boss, and quit. He didn't ask questions, just handed me my final paycheck and helped me gather my things. By 7 a.m., my phone was buzzing relentlessly with calls from Rebecca. I finally shut it off, deciding a new number was necessary. But as a final measure, I tossed the phone into a dumpster and picked up a cheap prepaid one. Thankfully, our finances were mostly independent, so I didn't have to worry about her accessing my accounts. By 10 a.m., I was on the road, no destination in mind. I eventually settled down in a distant town, finding steady work and starting over. 2 years passed quietly, with a handful of casual dates. Life was regaining a sense of normalcy, until one day Rebecca showed up at my door. How did you even find me? I demanded. A very costly private investigator, she replied. Why would you go that far? Because we're married. I meant it when I took those vows. For better or worse. Where did you get the money for that? I sold the house, she answered. What house? I asked, caught off guard. The one the court awarded to me, she said simply. I was about to ask about the court proceedings, but it felt irrelevant now. You've wasted your time and money, I said. We're over. You did exactly what I told you would end this marriage when you went to that party. Don't even try to deny it. Scarlett called me in the dead of night and let me hear everything. Your yes, please, harder, was loud and clear. Henry, just let me explain. I didn't go there intending to cheat. It wasn't even a thought. Maybe I dressed up a bit, but that was because Scarlett asked me. She said Greg would leave if he didn't think he had a chance, and she didn't want him around. You expect me to believe that? Please, just listen. Greg got the wrong idea. He wouldn't leave my side, barely letting me talk to anyone else all night. At the gathering, I spent some time dancing with a few men, and that was all. As the night wore on, I began to feel faint and disoriented. Scarlett assumed I might have overindulged and suggested I lie down in one of her guest rooms. I'm unsure exactly when, but at some point I became aware of someone touching me in a way that was far too familiar. For a moment I thought I was at home with you, until an unfamiliar voice whispered, Hurry it up, I'm next. When I opened my eyes, I saw Scarlett there, along with Greg and Mark. A few other men, undressed, were nearby, one waiting his turn. Henry, you know me. You know how deeply I lose myself with you, how completely I surrender to the moment. I don't know how many people were there before everything went black. The next morning, I woke to find Michael beside me, staring at me with an unsettling intensity. Confused, I asked, What's going on? He smirked and said, I never thought you'd cheat on Henry, but I'm glad you did. I'd love to see you again. Horrified, I slapped him, dressed as fast as I could, and went straight to the hospital. At the hospital, I told the staff I suspected I'd been drugged. They tested me and found traces of Rohypnol and ecstasy, which led them to call the police. While waiting for them, I tried reaching you, but there was no answer. Later, I understood why when I returned home to find you gone. When the police arrived to question me, I shared what I could remember from that night. Admittedly, not much. Their first step was questioning Michael, who denied any knowledge of my drugging. He claimed such events were typical at Scarlett's parties, assuming I was fully aware. He even suggested he'd thought I had finally chosen to participate. The police then turned to Greg, who, under pressure, implicated Scarlett, saying she was behind the entire setup. Greg said Scarlett believed I secretly wanted to be part of the experience but needed a push. She thought that once the drugs wore off, I'd enjoy it enough to want it again. In a twisted way, she wasn't entirely wrong. There were moments when I felt pleasure. But she ignored the fact that I'd told her over and over that I wouldn't engage in any of this without you by my side. After leaving the hospital and the police station, an officer gave me a ride home. That was when it hit me why I hadn't been able to reach you. I broke down, and for days I could do little but cry. Eventually, I hired a lawyer and filed lawsuits against everyone involved that night. Most cases were dismissed, with everyone echoing Michael's account. However, Scarlett and Greg's roles were undeniable since they'd knowingly orchestrated the entire thing. I won those lawsuits, but Scarlett's assets were minimal, just her house, burdened with $25,000 in debt. I used the settlement from Greg to cover her remaining mortgage and sold her property. With the money from the sale, I hired a private investigator, and that's why I'm here now. You spent time and resources on a PI, just to attempt reconciliation? I want to be with you, Henry. I love you. I belong with you. You would have been better off using that money on a divorce lawyer. You could have filed for abandonment. I don't want a divorce, Henry. What you want is irrelevant to me now, Rebecca. I didn't choose any of this, Henry, but you chose to leave after I'd warned you that leaving would mean the end of our marriage. My departure should have shown you that I meant it. I'm here now to prove that to you. But you're still not listening, Rebecca. I don't want you here. There's no convincing me to come back, because I can't go back to someone capable of what you did. For God's sake, Henry, don't you understand I wasn't in control? I was drugged. You're the one not understanding, Rebecca. This isn't just about what happened at Scarlett's, though I did warn you about that risk. It's about the complete lack of respect you showed before even stepping out that night. Don't be ridiculous, Henry. None of this will change a thing for us. Those were your exact words as you left to meet someone else. In that moment, whatever hope I had for us vanished. Now please, go. I need to prepare for dinner. I'm famished. I'll come to dinner with you, and we'll talk it over. I'm going to show you that you're wrong and that we can work this out. Her voice barely faded before the front door swung open, and an undeniably attractive blonde stepped in, calling out, "Hey, babe, what's for dinner?" She spotted Rebecca and raised an eyebrow. "And who's she?" "This is Rebecca," I answered calmly. "I've mentioned her before." Rebecca's eyes went wide as the blonde moved closer, giving her a warm hug. "Thanks for sending Henry my way," she said, then turned to me with a smile. "What's the plan for dinner?" "I thought we'd eat out. I made a reservation at Carrabba's. Just give me a minute to change." She nodded, smiling at Rebecca. "Nice to meet you, Rebecca. Maybe we'll get together sometime and exchange stories." With that, she headed to the bedroom. "Rebecca, it's time for you to go. I need to get ready." "Does she know you're still married?" Rebecca pressed. "She does," I replied, matter of fact. "Then make sure she knows I'm not giving up on us, Henry. I'm going to fight for this." "Be realistic, Rebecca. To fight for me, you'd actually need to spend time with me, and we both know that's not happening. Get a divorce, find someone else, and when you do, don't treat him like you treated me." Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "For God's sake, Henry, why can't you see? I didn't betray you. I was drugged." "That doesn't change anything, Rebecca. You had to be there to be drugged. I warned you. Leaving that night would be the end of us. You chose to walk out, and with that, you ended our marriage. It's as simple as that. Now please leave." "I won't agree to a divorce, Henry. You'll have to tell your girlfriend that. She'll never marry you." "She doesn't need to," I said flatly. "She's married just like I am. Her husband won't agree to a divorce, and she won't pay for one. I'm telling you, Rebecca, just let go." "I'll leave," she said quietly. "But I won't go far. I'll move here if I have to. I'm not giving up on us." "No, Rebecca, I've been clear enough. I don't want you back. Now go." She stifled her tears, turned, and walked away. Moments later, Luna reappeared, looking as stunning as ever. Still not ready? Changed your mind? No, I replied with a smile. It just took longer than I thought to send her away. Is she gone for good? Luna asked. She should be. I made it clear I'm done. Good, she replied, smiling. Because I don't plan on letting you go. I smiled back. Give me 10 minutes and I'll be ready. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.